Winning never felt so bloody good than it did last night. Let's talk about it. I do want to make mention of the moment of silence at the start for domestic violence and all the women that have been killed in Australia this year. So it's 28 women so far this year. It was 34 last year, and last year it was 30% more than it was the previous year. It's an epidemic at the moment. Is that the right term? It's an epidemic at the moment, and we we have to do more. Like, I know friends that have gone through it, friends that are going through it, family that have gone through it, and my heart goes out to all the lives lost. And um, you know, they were wives and daughters and aunties and friends and sisters. So um, we have to be better. Even as men, we have to be better. We have to do a lot, and listen to the stories that girls tell, and don't dismiss them. Don't dismiss that when they're walking at night and there's a guy coming, they have to cross the road just in fear. They have to walk with their, if they're going through a park or something, they've got to walk with their keys in their fists. So listen to their stories and know that silence silence is complicitness. If you see something, absolutely say something, even if it's a joke or something. You got to pull your friends up on that, and as men, we can do better. And I want to use, and I hope to use this platform for good. And this is a message that's really, really important to me and to a lot of my friends and to a lot of people. Um, and enough is enough. Like, uh, one is too many to be lost to domestic violence. Um, Enough is enough. We got to educate our sons, our kids, our dads, our whatever it is more, because it's not it's not fair, and this is not the world that I want to bring. Not that I have kids, but I don't want to bring my kids up in a world like this, or a daughter in a world like this. Um, but yeah, enough is enough, and that I think it was a really beautiful moment, and it's great what the AFL are doing. It's creating, and it might seem tokenistic at the moment, and we could get into that whole other thing a little bit later, but it's creating a space where you can chat to someone, you can hear their stories and go, oh, okay, far out, and work on it. So yeah, I think it was really, really nice to start the game like that. So going into this game, we obviously had the draw with Essendon the week before. Carlton were up and about. Yes, they lost to Geelong, but they lost. They could have won that one, and they put up a really good fight last week. And then they go into favourites to this game. It's their home game at the MCG. So the G was packed with Carlton supporters. But I was weirdly confident going into this game. And I know I tipped us by 1 point. And at a certain time in that last quarter, it looked like we were going to win by 1 point. But I was, whoever I was sort of talking to, I was like, no, I'm weirdly confident for some reason. And there was a couple of things during the day that sort of went about, and it was a little bit positive here and there. And some of my friends were like, oh, I've just done this, and that's a good sign. And I don't really believe in omens too much, but everyone had this little thing that they were telling me. It's like, oh, my mate said the Knicks won, and that's a good omen for us. And won at the pokies, and did this and did that. And I was like, okay, we might be on here. We might actually be on here. And then, you get to the game, and it's just crazy, and it's the G's are just that Colosseum, and Carlton Carlton run out, and it's just a loud roar, and I'm like, okay, this is going to test us. And I said in my preview that this was going to be the litmus test, and fuck, did we pass it? Did we absolutely pass the litmus test? So for the last few weeks, our biggest concern has been our slow starts and just that sort of first quarter in general. We kicked the first goal, which was good. It's good that another team didn't kick 3 goals before we can kick one. And then Carlton went on a little bit of a roll. Harry Mackay kicks 3 goals in that first quarter, and they go off to like a 19-point lead or something at quarter time. But it wasn't too concerning. We did what we sort of needed to do. We didn't get given them the fast start that they would wanted to have. But then they kicked that first goal in the second quarter, and I'm like, okay, hang on. There is a little bit of work going on here. We have the fundamentals. We just need to sort of put it all together. Then we kick 5 unanswered goals. And I'm thinking, and then we go into the lead, going into halftime. And I'm thinking, all right, we're on here. This game, you could just tell, was going down to the wire. Collingwood weren't going to run away with it. Carlton weren't going to run away with it. So we're in the lead by a couple of goals. And then then the third quarter, and it was just all Carlton, like with goals and stuff. The thing with Collingwood in the last 3 weeks, we haven't been converting our chances. At one point last night, we were going out, I think it was around in the third quarter, we were going at like 45% efficiency in our forward 50 compared to all of the forward 50 entries that we were having. So we just weren't converting our chances. Mason Cox, Jamie Elliott, Will Hoskin-Elliott, a couple of others and stuff like that, just weren't converting. And then you start missing, and that pressure sort of piles on. Then it goes to the next guy, and then he misses. Then the pressure goes on to the next guy. Then Carlton go up and kick some easy goals, and you're just fucking spewing. And then during the third quarter, that 3-quarter time, you could cut the tension with a knife across the stadium. No one was easy. Everyone was uncomfortable. And that last quarter was just absolutely sent from heaven. And for it to end how it ended, it was a bit of a back and forth in that last quarter. They would kick a goal, we would kick a couple of goals. When Nick DAICOS kicked that goal, and you'll see the vision pop up on my Instagram and TikTok and maybe a YouTube short as well. And then that siren, we went nuts. It was, beating Carlton by 50 points is awesome because you just get to sit back and you go, ha, 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 50 points, everyone's leaving. But beating them by a goal in the last minute and a half, it was reminiscent of 2022, like my friends that I was talking to yesterday and stuff. It was reminiscent of 2022 and knocking them out of, out of finals. It was just, there's not a better way to beat them than like that when they think they had it won. There was a lot of Carlton fans that were going really confident into this game, and they wanted to, stamp their mark on their premiership credentials as well. And that's fair enough because they were informed. They were 5-2 going into this game. They had every right to win this game. And, we really, not that we didn't, but, we had a couple of injuries. I know they've got a couple of their own sort of injuries and stuff like that. But we shifted the midfielders around and we were up against it. Backs against the wall. No one sort of tipping us. And we come out and do that. After the season that we had, or the season that we've had, especially that start of the season, we haven't lost a game for 5 rounds now. So we're on, we're 4 wins and a draw since we lost to St Kilda. And we're starting to sort of, no pun intended, but we're starting to sort of fly at the moment. And it's a really good feeling, especially with the start that we had. So we'll look into a little bit of some of my favorite stats from last night. Plus 26 inside 50s. We had 15 more inside 50s in that last quarter than Carlton. So we were always peppering that goal and we were getting just reward for it. Plus 4 in clearances. With clearances, actually, I'll talk about a little bit about that in a second. Plus 34 in tackles. When does that happen? When do you get plus 34 in tackles, right? And then plus 13 in inside 50 tackles. Now, I love these 4. It's kind of like they're kind of like a burger, right? Like the inside 50s is like the bun, the clearances is, your cheese, the tackles is your patty, and then the inside 50 tackles is your other bun. And it's a nice, juicy fucking McRae Whopper, if you will, because those 4 just go hand in hand. Last week against Essendon, we said that they were a high clearance team. They were great around the stoppages. And Carlton are even better than Essendon. So without Mitchell and without De Goey, those 2 workhorses in the middle, we really did have our work cut out for them. things change a little bit. You know, Nick Daicos plays mostly in the midfield. Jack Crispin come in when he wants to. Lockie Sullivan, who we'll talk about a little bit later, played that role when he came on. Bo McCreary. And we just dominated them in areas where they should have smashed us out of the ballpark. Patrick Cripps, Chera coming back, Walsh, and whoever else they have around there. They beat Geelong in most of these stats, if I'm not mistaken, last week, and they've been doing it a lot for the year as well. So that's their bread and butter. That's their 9-iron. That's, you know, whatever sort of analogy you want to give them. And the 34 tackles and then plus 13 inside 50 tackles, the pressure pies are back. And we said that against Brisbane. We said, okay, our pressure is up. We're coming back. And it's great that we're sort of winning differently to what we were winning last year. So we're sort of improving, we're sort of getting better, and that's exactly what Fly loves to do. Another stat that I want to sort of bring up is that we scored more from turnovers than Carlton did, and Carlton are the best in the league recently for scoring from turnovers. So we really took their game to them and took their game away from them and just did their game better. And you don't really see that often with Collingwood this season at the moment, especially like last week against Essendon. You don't really see that. But for whatever Carlton were doing right, like previously, we did it better. And that's what makes it so much sweeter, because they should have smashed us in every aspect and they didn't. And it's sweet and we get the win. And we're back in the top 8 for now, but we're back in the top 8. And our premiership credentials are starting to creep back a little bit. And it just, it's so good. I do want to talk about some players now. Nick Daicos, of course, kicked the winning goal, but just everything else that he did, without, like I said, without Jordan DeGoey, without Tom Mitchell, he plays mostly midfield. And he is just that guy. Absolutely. Like, build him a statue already. I don't care. At the MCG, at the front of the AIA Centre, just build him a statue, because he's going to get one anyway, so you may as well start constructing it now. Pendlebury's goal as well in the last, was that the last quarter, Pendlebury's goal? Bobby Hill did a couple of nice things. Checkers was held really well by Wiedering, but of course, you know, he's our biggest forward. Of course, he's going to get held. But Lockie Sullivan comes on for Bo, who I hope is okay, concussed. He has 5 tackles, 10 disposals, 9 clearances, 8 score involvements. He played 3 quarters or thereabouts. So he had 8 score involvements, which is 2 more than anyone else on the field. How good is that for a kid? Well, not a kid, 26-year-old, overlooked in 8 drafts or whatever it was, to debut on the MCG in front of nearly 90,000 people, first kick, first goal club. I'm just so happy for him, man. And it says a lot about, just determination and everything, and perseverance. And I'm just so stoked for him that he got this opportunity, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Also, quick little shout out to Harvey Harrison. We've unearthed an absolute gem. He did a couple of nice things last year, but now he's developing into this sort of high half forward role without Lockie Schultz, without Bo McCreary next week. He's going to be really, really important. Schultz is probably going to get a week for his sort of punch behind the head. So he's going to be really, really important. And yeah, he's done so well. And obviously he did that tap to Nick Daicos. He kicked the goal, did some really nice things. So shout out to Harvey Harrison. But look, guys, that's just been my review of that absolutely incredible game. Let me know all your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll see you later.